discover the natural power of ashwagandha, an ancient herb known for its healing properties. For over 3,000 years, ashwagandha has been trusted to reduce stress, increase energy, and improve focus. Our ashwagandha is carefully grown, harvested, and processed to retain its maximum potency. Each root is hand-picked and dried, then ground into a pure, organic powder, ensuring the highest quality. Simply mix 1 teaspoon into your favorite beverage or take it in capsule form as prescribed by a healthcare professional. Whether you're looking to balance your stress levels, boost your immune system, or enhance mental clarity, ashwagandha offers a natural solution. Experience the benefits of ancient wisdom backed by modern science. Trust nature. Trust ashwagandha. Go get this product at blackhotfirenetwork.com at the Sports and Nutrition Store.
You don't have any sound, Joby.
Good afternoon, family. Hope you guys are doing amazing. Hope you are having a wonderful day on your end. It is 40 minutes past 8 p.m. right here in the 24.
You on our regular count?
Yeah.
Okay.
Karibuni sana to everyone live with us on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, and of course to everyone with us also on the radio, Spreaker, and Spotify to also get to catch this live or on repetition. Today we shall be talking about, of course, still the ongoing current events on Iran and Israel. Along that, we shall be checking on a few details historically. We shall be checking on some few news and information coming from Africa, the likes of Ibrahim Traore, what he's doing to the lives of the Kinabe people. I have seen he has actually been able to come up with an amazing, very fast underground train, and which can cover actually a very long kilometer, and with a very few funds. It's not like what we have in most of the African countries. So much loans taken, very super slow things. Ibrahim Traore is literally using the resources very, very well. So I'll be sharing that as we get to continue. I also have a lady who's talking about democracy. As we literally talk about democracy this evening, Kenyans again have taken it back to the streets. And this is because so many bodies have been discovered in a certain supermarket. And apparently, allegedly, these were people who were killed yesterday. So it's like the police were going to dump these bodies at a certain place so that they can be able to control the crowd and lie that they're not really using live bullets, so they're not killing that huge number of people. So people are really, really mad. We've had businesses that were destroyed, which is so something super, super crazy. Today we woke up to so many people crying because so many shops have been looted, empty, talking about malls, supermarkets, and it's just super, super crazy. So I don't know. It's super, super insane. It's just a whole confusing temperature of everything that is literally going on right now in Kenya. But also along that, we'll be discussing a little bit on what is going on, of course, with Israel. Why was Israel really created? We'll be getting into deeper details about that. But for now, let me share this video coming from Ibrahim Traore and what he's doing. But Karibu Sana Keith as well. How you doing before I get started?
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Sunday Sana did, Job. I'm a little hot, a little tired. Got to talking to a gentleman who lost $500,000 from his business. I had Demori on the phone. We were talking about his business. So how you still here at 65, man? He said, you know that guy you used to meet all the time back in the day? I said, you mean the short guy with the glasses? He said, yeah, he stole $500,000 from me. I was like, what? I was like, what? He's like, yeah, he was doing the bookkeeping for 5 years. I said, yeah. I said, that's that guy you treat like a son, right? So yeah, he embezzled $500,000 from us. How'd you finally found out? Well, one day I went to pay some bills from one of my accounts and all the money was gone. And that was one of my personal accounts. I said, well, how's my money gone in this account? And so he went to go talk to the bank. They said, got a lot of money missing.
That's
I told them, I said, I'm watching you, watching the bookkeeping. I'm watching your ass. So he said, yeah, man. And And the sad thing about it, he was never paying the business taxes. So I still owe the tax. As he stole all the money, I owe all the taxes on the business. I said, yeah, man. The IRS don't care about that in America. The cats run the IRS. The Rothschilds. Yeah, they hound the hell out of me. They said, we don't care. You got your money stolen. That ain't got nothing to do with us. We want our money. I said, I know. It's crazy.
That's crazy. Sorry for him.
Yeah, and the guy's not in jail. The guy's walking around. Somebody wanted to shoot him he wanted to take his gun and shoot him, but he got grandkids. He want to go to prison.
It's crazy because recently also in Kenya, I don't know, I saw a video which was saying that our systems have been hacked. I don't know how, but people have been losing their money. Literally, you find that you don't have money on your bank account and all that. So it's been happening to a couple of people. So
Well, that's easy. Any system, especially a country like Kenya, you might have systems. Even America can get hacked. They can steal your money. That's what Iran was threatening. They were going to hack all the systems in America and steal money. Every system, Joby, is able to be hacked. There's no such thing as an unhackable system. If it's attached to the internet, if it's attached to any kind of internet, it can be hacked. So just be careful.
That. But anyway, let me start with this video here of Ibrahim Traore and the amazing things he's doing for his people. Very quickly.
A move that has left the entire world speechless. President Ibrahim Traore has launched Africa's first ultra-high-speed underground train system, reaching speeds of up to 780 kilometers.
That's one thing Africans you haven't understood. He's not doing it for his people. He don't believe in his people. He believes in African people. That's why you've not developed the divisions, the tribalism, your backstabbing called dirtbag culture that you cultivated is allowed everybody to come steal from you. Like even Traore said, you live on the richest continent on the planet. You shouldn't know you're not supposed to be starving home. But your hatred for one another, your off-code behavior, not working with each other, has caused this. Go ahead, Joe.
That's true.
Per hour. Yes, you heard that right from the heart of Burkina Faso, a nation once overlooked, now leading a technological revolution that has never been seen before on African soil.
Exactly.
This isn't just a train, it's a statement, a declaration, that Africa is rising on its own terms. Sources reveal that this groundbreaking project was made possible through strategic partnerships with China and Russia, two global powers who are believed to be backing Traore's vision of a sovereign and futuristic Africa.
That's the only one you got right now is in South Africa.
Footage circulating across international media, the underground station resembles something straight out of a science fiction movie. Sleek design, AI integrated systems, zero emissions, and unmatched speed. People across Africa are celebrating.
Yeah. It ain't gonna be the train that goes from Mombasa to Nairobi. Tell you that.
That's true.
Traore, the architect of the new Africa. But not everyone is happy. Western powers, especially some influential figures, have been visibly unsettled by this bold move. Sources suggest that some governments see this as a competition.
Yeah, because Africans are supposed to be poor. They're unsettled that Africans will now develop and use their resources to build things that they should have built long time ago. Imagine that. They take the stuff that's in the ground that's theirs and use it to actually build the things that are theirs. I was thinking about Joby. Somebody was saying something about this lady. Because remember, Trump is now starting to cut off money going back to Africa. He's trying to make it hard for people to send money back to their countries, to South America and Africa. And they had a Nigerian lady who was happy to buy a refrigerator. And somebody had said, imagine this. A refrigerator is a big deal in Africa where all the minerals come at. That should not be a big deal. You having a refrigerator in Africa where all the minerals come there to make the shit. This is embarrassing. So she uses it to make a side hustle to sell cold drinks. He said, and the guy said, this is Africa. This is embarrassing. Everything that comes out the ground to make the goddamn refrigerator comes from Africa. But it's a a big deal to have a refrigerator, but most Africans can't afford. You can't imagine this backward crazy stuff. Everyone on the planet, everybody's got a refrigerator as a norm. But in Africa, where the goddamn materials come from, it's a flex. You're like, that's how you know this tribalism, the mismanagement has got to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't be no refrigerator, be no big deal in Africa when all the shit comes out of your damn ground. That's supposed to be the norm. Not like hey, she's the only one with a refrigerator on the block. What? Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, it sounds funny, but it's not funny. It's crazy. It's a big deal. That's just, it's true. It's a big deal, but it's not
I
something.
know it. It's not supposed to be. Exactly. It's not supposed to be.
Balance of influence. And whispers of pressure, sanctions, and political isolation have already begun to surface. In a move that has
Yeah, so shout out to Ibrahim. He's really doing amazing. That
But
is
they thought,
true.
damn, I thought you guys sanctioned him and all you got, and ECOWAS sanctioned all that stuff. He did nothing. He built more stuff in 3 years than all you knew was built in 46. He built more stuff in 3 years. You guys built in 60 years. He built his own aircraft. He built now a train. I didn't know about it. He built a train. I know he got cars, train. There's another one. The hospitals, he's building. The medical stuff he's building from all the medications. He don't want no medications from Europe no more. So all the medications are being developed there by the biochemists and doctors in Burkina Faso. So no more your garbage medications, your synthetics would never solve any cure. It was just there to, just garbage is always a psychopathic scam from the West. Who created the medical system. Oh, the Rockefellers. Always a scam. Never about any health. So, like you said, we need to take back our health systems, stop being guinea pigs, and grow up. He's right.
And he's going back to the literally, I'd say, herbal ways of healing ourselves. He's not.
Yeah, use herb because because that's actually what works, Joby. Your body, the herbs you put on your body, like you showed that lady, there was 100. You showed the African one. She's like 147. She was talking about the herbs because your medicine is supposed to be your food, and your food's supposed to be your medicine. So let me show that Jamaican herbalist, that African lady from Jamaica. She's like 147 years old. And I said, she 147? Yes, I'm 147. Because our average lifespan was 150 to 200 years. Their average lifespan was 35. And so we're learning from people that didn't make it to be but 35 years old. You know how everything's been like flipped upside down. It's like we live in a crazy world. The most barbaric, insane people didn't even know to wash their ass down, rule the planet. It's crazy. They didn't even know how to be didn't even make it to 35 years old. That means that Joby's age, if I was Joby, we would be almost old age. We senior citizens at 27, 26, 27, we old. Because we'd be dead in 10 years. It's crazy.
It is insane, but of course, that is what they do. That is, it's the upside down, like you say. It's how they flipped everything upside down. That is also how
Upside down, inside out, crazy world.
Africans. But speaking about how they rule everything, today I'll not be sharing anything regarding the soul food. I think I've shared so much about the soul food. So today I want to share something a little bit different before we get into the deeper conversations. We have a debate always going on about the country music. We've discussed this, of course, on lighter notes and all that, but here we have much given details of how so much music was stolen from black people and literally given to white people. The white people received the credits mostly, not the original
Well,
writers.
they know. They know. We always put some down. African people, Joby, are creators naturally. So we create things and we leave them behind. Now we created country we left behind for them, and so they took it and claim it as their own, and they try to pretend like they don't know where it came from. They didn't invent. White people didn't invent nothing. No music. Every music was invented. The classical music they listened to in Europe, the classical stuff that was brought into Europe by the Moors. All your Beethovens, your Bachs, your Amadeus, all these people. It was that was Mozart, Amadeus Mozart. That's all came from because all the instruments came out of Africa. Your piano's African, your harp is African. Those instruments came out of Africa. There was no instruments in Europe at all.
Yep.
So classical music came from the African. Your country music African. Your blues African. Your rock and roll African. Your rap African. Your R&B African. Black people, all of it. And like I said, we don't listen to music. We don't. You won't see nobody black rolling down the street in their car listening to damn indie music. Humdy, 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 holy, oh. You don't hear nobody listening to that shit. They'll be jamming our music.
How exactly did country music become associated with whiteness? Well, today we're going to talk about it. And if you like stories like this, you can find more stories like this at onemichistory.com. But without further ado, let's get started. Country music, which started in the rural areas of the American South, is often seen as a music genre that is strongly linked to white culture. It seems to match
And
the
it's not
lives and feelings of white Americans, with
lie.
stories in country music often deal with sadness, love, loss, and country life. Along with how it's presented to the media, it can seem as if it's deeply associated with whiteness. However, the
That's why
story of
that
country
country
music
music award they didn't give Beyonce nothing. They said, nope, you're not white. We're not giving you no award. Get out of here.
Because for me, I used to receive them like I remember my mom had this like her favorite CD of some country music, and I had some favorite jumps there. I can't even remember any of them. I think one of
Good luck to
the
you. I didn't.
oh, I didn't know anything, kid. So no, you can't blame me.
I know. Go ahead. I know.
You can't blame
Yeah,
me.
you had Camus and you had Camus playing country music one night on the rhythm on the show on the Vibe show, whatever it's called show. I'm like, oh man,
Yeah, one of them was "Why have you left the one you left me for?" I don't know how many of you know that one. I think it was very, very common.
I don't know it. Thank God. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it was. I used to relate it either with love songs or sad songs too.
isn't
All
solely
right.
rooted in white culture. In fact, Black musicians and their traditions have significantly shaped the genre since its inception. When country music was born, it drew inspiration from a vast variety of musical styles, significantly those of African Americans. It is
Of
often
course,
overlooked. Cultural contribution is evident in the various aspects of country music, from the instruments to the song
the
choices
instrument, the
to vocal
banjo comes from
traditional
Africa.
techniques. This rich influence can be compared to the impact of Black musicians have had on other genres like rock, jazz, and pop music.
Nickel.
However, largely due to business decisions by predominantly white music execs, Black artists have been almost exclusively excluded
Marginalized.
from
Exactly.
country music's. One of the earliest influence on the creation of country music came directly from African culture, and that's the banjo. Originated
Banjo.
in West African societies,
No, no,
this
no, no.
instrument was
Pause the
brought
joke.
to
So
America.
all you Indian Negroes, even the music comes out of Africa. The instruments. So it didn't come from your Indian culture that you got here. Even the instruments came out of Africa. These are facts. Okay. So if you didn't come out of Africa, how did the instruments get here? Okay. These are African instruments. But go ahead, Joby. Food
By
instruments that you ain't
African
African.
enslaved
It's
people.
crazy.
These early banjos were made from gourds and had a special design with a drum-like body and strings of different limbs. The banjo evolved in America and started to include features common to European string instruments, like a flat fingerboard and tuning pegs. The iconic banjo that we recognize today has four strings, with three long ones running the length of the instrument and a short thumb string. By the 1840s, only Black people were seen playing the banjo, but minstrel shows became popular during the 1850s, and white performers started playing the
Jim Crow.
banjo, mocking Black culture.
Right?
These
Yeah,
shows
Jim
became a
Crow.
huge
That
hit,
became
and
Jim
some
Crow
of the
like
banjo
that. Look at these. They put blackface on. Look at be all broken like you're a low budget bum, black. Put your face black. Look at these no good,
shows
dirty Negroes.
adopted by white audiences, setting the stage for the rise of hillbilly music in the early 1920s. Besides the banjo, Black cultural influence. Many early country songs were inspired by Black spirituals, work songs, and the blues, each
Of course.
capturing the struggle and faith of enslaved people. Furthermore, several songs performed by the first hillbilly musicians were adapted by Black artists. In fact, popular country music songs were inspired by a hymn arranged by a Black minister. Even though our nation was super segregated during the 1920s and 30s, Black and white musicians would often collaborate on records. A famous example of this is Jimmy Rogers, one of the fathers of country music, who teamed up with Louis Armstrong, a legendary jazz musician, for Blue Yodel Number 9 in 1929. This shows that both artists were drawing from the same musical well, even though they came from different genres. After World War I, there were about 50 Black singers and musicians that were a part of popular hillbilly records. As country music grew in popularity, particularly among white Southerners,
Trying to get
record
the black
companies
people out of
saw
there.
a profitable opportunity in country music. They thought they wouldn't be successful if it was seen as racially integrated. As a
That black
result,
people there.
the Black artists who helped make previous records successful were no longer credited for their work. Instead, album covers featured white artists. And then country music began to be marketed solely as white music. This pushed Black musicians like Leslie Riddle and Rufus Payne, who greatly
Out of it.
influenced their white counterparts with their musical styles, to the sidelines. So as white Southerners moved north, they brought country music along with them, fortifying the idea in people's minds that country music was a genre for only white people. Yet, Black musicians' impact left an indelible mark on country music. The Fifth Jubilee Singers from Nashville's Fisk University were instrumental in shaping the genre sound through their performances of Negro spirituals. D4 Bailey's harmonica skills added depth to country music, making him a star in the early days of the Grand Ole Opry. D4 Bailey, whose parents were enslaved, emerged as a star on the Barn Dance radio shows broadcast in Nashville's WSM station. His incredible performances of songs like Pan American Blues and The Fox Chase won the hearts of listeners across the South. In fact, his music played a huge part in the creation of the Grand Ole Opry in 1927, a stage that would become a cornerstone of country music. Bailey became one of the earliest members of the Grand Ole Opry and was one of its most frequent performers. However, despite his popularity and talent, Bailey's journey was not easy. His race was often concealed from radio audiences, and while he was on tour at the Opry, he faced the harsh realities of segregation across the South, leading to difficulties finding places to stay and seen as more of a mascot than a respected artist. Sadly, even Bailey's relationship with the Grand Ole Opry and the broader music industry soured over time. He was unceremoniously fired in 1941, and George D. Hay, the founder of the Opry, later remarked that Bailey was lazy in a comment that not only reflected his racial prejudice, but also disregarded Bailey's contribution to this Grand Ole Opry. Succeeding Bailey was Charlie Pride. Charlie Pride was one of the first really famous Black country artists. He emerged in the 1960s. Despite his incredible talent, Pride faced a lot of challenges solely based on his race. During this time period, records were often divided by race. There were race records by Black artists for Black listeners, and then there was white music. This segregation of the music industry made it hard for Black country musicians like Pride to gain recognition that they so readily deserved. This trend of minimizing the achievements of Black country artists carried on into the mid-20s. As country music grew in popularity, it was
I think
often seen
pause
as
it, Joe. Pause
more
it, Joe.
than white.
I actually think Ray Charles was a bigger country artist than Charlie Pride was, because Ray Charles did it all. You know. Pull this up real quick, Joe. Real quick. Go to YouTube. Say what year was Ray Charles, RayCharles, Ray Charles country record number one? What year was Ray Charles country record number one? A record or album.
They're saying Ray Charles' country record, I Can't Stop Loving You, reached #1 in 1962. It spent 5 weeks
So
in the top
and that's
US.
before So yeah, so that's before Charlie Pride. And Ray Charles, we know, was rhythm and blues, rock and roll, jazz. Ray Charles, everything. We got to look at the Ray Charles movie. On one Friday thing, we had Joe, we just showed the the clip. They're gonna take everything away from you, Ray. Is that putting that drug in your arm worth everything? So that's that same lady in the other movie. is that is putting that drug in your arm worth losing everything? So so yeah, so Ray Charles was one of the few black musicians that was able to cross over. Because, like he said in the movie, he said that's our music. We created that. Because remember, the company, the record company didn't want him to do it. Say, wait, we can't give you country music. That's white people stuff. He said, we made country music. That's our music. Say, Ray, we can't get you. We can't do that. Remember, the record company was against him creating an album. Say, Ray, we can't give you country music. We can't. You not gonna sell. We gonna lose money on that. He said, you read my contract, right? You got me over here. I can do any music I want. And black people created country music. And regardless, Ray, there's no artist. White people are not going to buy your country music. And you see, he was number one in 1962. And that was his genre, right? You know, he said, what are you talking about? That white people and black people created this music. It's like, Ray, we don't want you to do this. You're gonna lose the company money. Nobody's going to buy this album. So Ray is one of the only, besides Beyonce, one of the only black artists that crossed over from pop, R&B, soul, and jazz and stuff to country music. I don't think it's been done since Ray Charles. I think Beyonce is the only one. I can name no mainstream artist besides Beyonce that was able to do country. So I think that Cowboy Carter that shit was the number one. It's like Ray Charles, and that's 60 years ago almost. That is 60 years ago. 1962, Jovi said. That is 60 years ago when Ray Charles went to number one. And so that's how rare it is. That's how rare it is to go to number one on country music and you're another genre. And you know they would, and you know they told Beyonce the same thing. No, we can't let you do country music. Ain't nobody gonna buy your album. And you see how white people got mad? They got mad when she did country music. See how mad they got? Why is this? They was openly mad. Don't you? Why is this B doing country? Who the hell she thinks she is doing white music? They were going crazy. And remember, the Country Music Awards didn't invite her. She didn't win nothing, and they didn't invite her ass there. You keep your black ass. No matter how much skin bleaching she done, they still know she black. So you keep your black ass out of our country music. But go ahead, Joby. Them is always about race.
Predominantly white audience. But
exactly.
with the racial prejudice of the 60s also came increased awareness of the civil rights movement and the realization that the contributions of black artists have been largely ignored in country music scene. This led to efforts.
Let me say something again. Have you guys noticed this new country music has been merged, of course, with hip hop now? Have you noticed that? All these country artists are now all immersed in mixing their country crap with hip hop. See, it's all right for them to steal our shit and integrate it ours because we don't got no boundaries. We don't got no boundaries.
Honor black artists that shaped the genre. Charlie Pride became the first black artist to be inducted in the Country Music Hall of Fame, and Ray Charles, a significant figure in the world of music as a whole, blended country with R&B and pop and changed the country music scene forever. Today, modern country music has experienced significant influence from black music genres like hip hop and
exactly. R&B. Exactly. Like he said, and black people, you always give everything up. You always make everybody culture vulture. They steal your shit, the country music, then they come back because that music, everybody hates that country crap. Everybody never went universal, except for the Africans. That shit never went global. So now they need the hip hop to make it relevant. So they went back and just started putting hip hop in this shit. I'm like, what is this? Blatantly just stealing it. Blatantly. because that's what they do. Go ahead, Joe.
Evolution into a multifaceted genre. This musical blending has resulted in a richer country music landscape, underscored by its variety of cultural influences. However, challenges persist for Black artists in this musical sphere. Representation and inclusion remain
Because they
areas
don't want your
demanding
black ass
attention,
there.
as
That's
Black
why.
artists often struggle for visibility and a fair recognition in the country music scene. In response to these challenges, movements like the Black Opera have taken strides to promote Black artists and diversify the genre. The Black Opera is a grassroots initiative focused on highlighting Black talent. In this genre, it offers a stage to Black artists, making a remarkable change to the largely white centered narrative of country music that exists. This effort makes it clear that the future of country music involves a continued effort to break down barriers relating to race. But there is still a lot of work to be done.
No, I'm
Friends,
not.
the Black
We keep
Opera's
breaking
founder,
down there.
Holly G, would point out the current state of feelings towards the genre. As a country music fan, I don't feel safe in country music spaces, and it
Of
doesn't
course you don't,
surprise me that
because it's
Black people are
racist.
hesitant to be a part of this space.
No, because it's
It's
racist.
also crucial to note that throughout the history of country music, Black women have almost entirely been left out. This is largely because Black women face both racism and sexism and were given no platform at all to break into the industry. The first Black woman to enter the country music scene and gain commercial success was Linda Martell, who released an album, Color Me Country, in 1970. Recently, though, there have been more Black female artists entering the country music scene, but they still face issues of discrimination. But there's some renewed interest created by Beyonce's introduction into the country
Of
music
course,
scene, and
they got
hope
mad
that
about
this
Beyonce.
excitement and anticipation will carry into broader representation within the genre. Holly G once again points out that there's such variety within Black country music, and this diversity is what I hope others will ultimately see and appreciate. In the end, Black people have long made contributions to country music, even though they've been overlooked. Their influences began right from the early beginnings of the genre, continue to shape its sound and storylines today. Usually, people see country music as a tale of drunken nights and heartbreak, but there's even more common theme of life's hardship and struggle. This theme resonates through the Black experience in the United States. Sometimes people mistakenly see arts, music, dance, and other creative areas as a mostly white space, and this includes country music. However, the truth is that many parts of American culture, including these, would not exist without the contributions of Black individuals. So, as we go forward, I
Why
hope
black
to
people
see a
create that
future
goofy shit?
where Black country artists are celebrated for their past and future contributions to the music genre.
Not in this system, of course. We're gonna wait for so long for black people to be celebrated. So long as they have
Exactly.
work.
It's 2025. I'm gonna keep on waiting. What are you talking about? Exactly. Keep on talking about waiting in this system. Are you crazy? Fuck the system then.
You're gonna wait for so long. But
You wait
still
forever.
on the black history, last time I did share where we had black women being imprisoned and being raped to the point where their children also being stolen and being sold for benefits. So today I have another different historical event that took place that also affected black children, and I want to share with you guys as we get to continue and learn something about it. This happened in the 1990s. Actually, this is super recent, I'd say. In the early in the actually in between 1990s and early 2000s, and the same black children were used in AIDS drug testing. This is between the 1990s and the early 2000s, and in the late 1980s through the early 2000s, hundreds of HIV positive foster children, many of whom were black or Latino, were enrolled in AIDS drug trials with insufficient oversight and advocate protection. A 2005 a 2005 Vera Institute reviewed the 796 NYC foster children records, found that 532 participated in 88 clinical trials between 1985 and 2005. Many lacked proper informed consent, dependent advocates, and consistent ethical reviews. Investigations, including the NPR and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Service, revealed that some experiments violated federal rules. Children were tested often without their legal guardian approvals, and or required any monetization during this particular test. And of course, I'd say this is the same thing they've been doing. If you look at literally how the Biden administration, even what they wanted to do, denying guardians consent of their children because you are not agreeing to this LGBTQ BS. So they were saying they're gonna take your child, they're gonna do all these surgical operations on them, and you have no say in it. So this literally started way long time ago, and this is literally black children we're talking about. So today, even their own race is literally affected, which is so crazy. How far can they go? It's always a question. Sometimes you need to sit down and ask yourself, how far can they really go? If they've really gone super far, how deeper, how far can it really go? It's super crazy. But let me go through a few comments, see what you guys are saying here very quickly before we get into some news and updates of what is happening in China. There's been reported floods, massive floods. Many people have been reported dead. Others, of course, leaving their homes, trying to find safety, and it's crazy. So I'm going to share the images of the current events and what is happening. Shout out to Jason. Hope you're doing amazing. Karibu sana. I see earlier you're talking about it right there. China flooding like the city of Atlantis. It's crazy because with all that, because China is developed, why is it that they can't control the flooding? It's something I'm kind of surprised. Is it climate change? They want to say again.
No, because China sits on a swampland. It's swampy. That's why.
Oh, okay. Shout out to Jiba Jaba as well. Karibu sana. Jiba also says all the old white country musicians from the early 1900s were taught by black men, Texas, Mississippi, and Louisiana.
All of them.
Um,
Exactly.
mhm. He also says all raw country from this episode is good. And Jason also says white country music nowadays is all low vibration. Like to Fox want here to humanize animal number country music. And Jiba Jeba says Charlie Pride owned a bank in the South USA in the late 70s and 80s. Okay, but I bet, of course, it no longer exists today. Jiba Jeba also says Ray Charles' version of America the Beautiful should be the national anthem. He belts it out. All right. And then now Sister Jason says the compromised Little Nas X, Lil Nas, gave country music a shot, didn't he? Yeah, he did. I think, yeah, that's how they introduced him actually with the country music. But yeah, he had all this kind of cowboy outfit and all that. But Ricky also says Karibu Sana. He says the black guy tea and the blowfish crossover to the country. And as we move on, I also see Jiba Jaba says there is a young black in that's big. One control they had a Shobzi perform rapping in country, okay, and all that. But anyway, let me show what's going on in China as we continue. So these are the current events. There have been reports of floods in the last 2 days. So let me share very quickly on what is happening as you get to continue. My internet is slow today. Ruto is doing what he's doing, but yeah, sorry, apologies. My internet is slow. I don't know what's going on. If it's Ruto messing us up, you might have seen them trying to tamper with electrical tokens already. So
People.
well, everything is all right.
On June 24, 2025, a devastating flood swept through Rongjiang County in Qiandangan Prefecture, Guizhou Province. After hours of torrential rain combined with upstream runoff caused several rivers to burst their banks overnight.
This is really bad.
The rainfall, combined with mountainous terrain and already saturated ground, triggered a sudden surge in water levels across the Pingyong River, Zhaihao River, and Duliujiang. By the early hours of the morning, water had engulfed large sections of the county, turning streets into rushing rivers, submerging buildings, and sending residents fleeing in the dark.
Don't try it. But anyway, yeah, this is the current images of what is happening in China. You can hear from the current events of what is happening. So
You're always jealous because I can speak Chinese and she can't. Don't get upset.
wow, China is advanced. You can't compare this with, of course, Africa. Africa, you can see for them, they do have ready motorboats to help the people, you know, coming from the north and all that. In Africa, you'll be stranded, you're going to die in that car trying to save yourself or waiting for the government. You know, they tell you climb a tree, you know, hold on to something or do something about yourself. So shout out to them, and we hope the country is going to go back to a normal situation.
It's right.
That particular situation, huh?
No, go ahead, Joe. I was talking to them.
All right, but on the next video I want to share right here is of an Indian. It never ends, of course, it never ends. This is an Indian, I don't know if a student or a fellow student or a man, but this is a video going viral where there's a young Indian forcing another African student to kiss his shoes and is beating him, bullying him. And this is where we go back to understand as an African again, where we need to understand, or Africans should be taught, that racism is all taught from home, you know, because the moment you're coming to do this at school, meaning there's a whole lot of crap talked in your where you come from, in your household about Black people, you know, and this is where you get this type of hate you have towards Black people every time you see them. I don't know if it really makes sense, but let me share this, which is so crazy because this is not the first time we've seen this. We've seen a whole grown man being told the same by these same Indians, you know, same Indians. If it's not an Indian, it's always a Chinese. And telling you to kiss their shoes. Sad.
You're not him. Kiss my shoes right now. For what? Kiss it right now. No. Travis Scott, I guess. Oh, nah, room. Oh, one more. Oh! One more. Wait, why are you having it? Nah, room. No. Finish off. Yeah. Finish off. Don't finish off. Oh, Romeo. Punch. Romeo. No. Don't be sad. Oh, hands up on it, man. Boys on Nah, you violent, man. Now hump him now. Grab scissors.
Personally, looking at this, I was looking at this showing to people right in the office, and I was like, this is one of the reasons personally I think I'm scared of becoming a parent, because I don't know what I'd do to you. It's the same thing with this man who's going viral right now. I don't know, he was drunk in the airport and just smacked a baby on the ground. Now the baby is on a coma.
You scared of being a parent because of what, Joby?
This kind of things you see on the screen, because I don't know what I'll do to you. If I find you doing this to my child,
So
you
your
know,
child,
the same
you
thing.
gonna go. You gonna go to work.
The same. I'm saying another video is going viral of a man who just hit a child on the ground. And now the child is on a coma, and this is the excuse is that the man was drunk. I don't know what I'd do to you as a parent, because this is just number one. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Try to
you
process
gonna
this.
put
And
some.
that was the
Believe
exact.
me, Joe. But somebody did to you, Joe. You had somebody do that to your dang child, Joby. You gonna put in some work. Believe me.
Mm,
You gonna
exactly.
put in. You gonna put in some work.
I was telling Kamlesh here, I think this is one of the reasons personally I'd rather not be a parent, because I'd lose it. I'd totally lose it. I don't know how to, I don't know, find you doing this to my child. I don't, I'm going crazy. I'm going crazy. Not just, I don't care whether you are, I am going crazy. I'm going crazy. It's not,
You're gonna go crazy because that's your mother's love is different. That child came up out of you.
hmm
That child's part of your flesh, literally.
hmm
So
okay. Exactly. Shout out to
child for
discussions.
9 months. So
Mhm. Hope you're doing amazing. Karibu sana. Nice to see you. Been a minute. Hope you're doing great. But as we move on, we have Israel and Iran, part of our
dang,
conversation.
discussion with Dina. Damn, what the? We ain't seen her like in what 10 years.
It's been a minute. Hope you're doing
But
amazing.
also, family, I want everybody to realize we got copyright strikes, so we're going to be moving to Black Eye Fire Network 2 for the next 2 months until our copyright strikes come off of this channel here. So we're going to be moving to Black Eye Fire Network 2 probably Monday, right? Black Eye Fire Network 2. But I'll do the regular shows on this one because I won't share any videos, so I won't get any copyright strikes. So on the weekends, I'll do the regular show over here, but starting Monday, me and Joby will do all the shows on Black Eye Fire Network too, her shows as
Uh,
well.
So let me share. Literally, we have Iran, an article right here which was talking about why Israel really was created and who really profits from it. So I want to read it, of course, as you get to go on what is happening. I've seen that Iran has made a move to suspend the cooperation with the UN nuclear watchdog, and we also have Israel still bombing more Palestinians. 60 so far have been reported dead, and it's crazy. The aid is not getting to them. We have Syria still, which is not Syria, but Lebanon. We have Lebanon, which was also attacked just this few days ago. I remember I saw something like that, an article like that, and it's crazy. Yeah, Lebanon. We have Lebanon, which also was attacked. So Israel, the thing that you are told it was a homeland and a response to history, a place of peace, but behind the headlines and history of books lies one of the most strategic creation in modern geopolitical warfare. They're saying that the narrative versus the hidden motive of what we're told. One of it is that it's a safe haven after World War II. The second one is that it's a land promised for peace. This is for the religious nuts, a land promised for peace. If you believe in Jerusalem and all that, that's where you're caught up, I guess. And then, but the behind closed doors, we have massive military leverage. That is what Israel is all about. We have financial gateways, which should say from the US and probably the rest of the world. We also have the resource control, which is, of course, we should say Israel is the largest benefactor, benefactor of the resources from the world. We should say that, right? If we're really, really correct. But they're also saying Israel is more than a country; it's a global power tool, which I think right now everyone understands. The location, which was not accidental, they're saying that placed in the Middle East, Israel borders oil-rich nations. That is number one. We have trade route, trade routes, and we also have conflict zones. This wasn't just a spiritual land; it was a strategic real estate. Control this zone, and you control the global flow. The military industrial engine, despite its size, is that Israel ranks top 10 in global arms exports. It also has one of the most advanced cyber warfare units, which is 8,200 units, and it receives billions annually in military aid. The warfare is profitable. Israel is
They've
military led.
seen billions of aid on everything from the United States because the United States is controlled by these people through their banking scam. This fake country called Israel was set up by the Rothschilds. We looked at it's called the Balfour Declaration, giving the Lord Rothschild these people who claim that they are Jays and are really not. They converted to a religion. They run around. They've been talking about they're the chosen people of God and all this other nonsense, which is a lie. A lie. It's okay. You can join the religion, cool. But you being the chosen people of God in that Bible is a lie. You converted to that religion. You're Turks. And just like Shad, everybody's telling you the same thing. Literally, the Iranians and the Jews down they call it the Jews are the same people. They're both Turkmen type. They're both Turks. Okay? From the Asian steppes. That's why they don't take DNA tests. All right? Because it all comes back that they converted to that religion. So as they got control of the planet, they start changing history books, lying about history. If you said you're somehow anti-Semitic, these are facts. They're Khazars, Ashkenazim. These are facts. They went around to my only we can kill and do because we are the chosen people. We can do whatever we want to do. You can't. We're the chosen people. You're not the chosen people because you're not those people unless you're black. Unless you're black, you're not black. And no matter how you try to change the history, tell me that Nasser, the president of Egypt, didn't say, I can't trust you people because you left here black and came back white, and now try to say that's a lie. Everyone knows it's a fact. He did say that. But now you try to change it because you created Google, you own all these stuff, and you change shit in Google, said it's the conspiracy. He said, everybody knows he said that. Because that was Northeast Africa. All you people there are invaders. None of you people. All of North Africa, none of you people are original to these lands. The white Iranians are not Persians. That land was called Persia. They renamed it Iran because they called themselves Aryans. White people. They're not Persians. Original Persians are Africans. That's African culture. The original people from Baghdad, African. Saudi Arabia, we call Saudi, it's called Arabia. Africans. Oman, Yemen, African. Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Bahrain, African. None of you people are original to that area. None of you. You came down, you assumed Arab identity, which is Arab is a culture, it was an African culture. You assumed Hebrew culture is African again. So all you people cosplaying the very people that you hate. Y'all cosplaying. And you've rewritten history to put yourself. You got people on TV as white as hell talking about the ancient Egyptians. You're like, what? What are you? You have the Arab white person in Egypt tell you that they're ancient Egypt, you'll laugh in their face. You know why? We know it's not you. Spiritual systems got nothing to do with you. Africans didn't rest up, cover their face up and all that old shit. African people wore little to nothing. That's why on the statues, African women had their breast out, wore little to nothing because nobody raping nobody, and it wasn't shameful for women to show their bodies. That's African culture. But you same thing all the way down in Zulu culture. All that culture throughout Africa. Because it's one culture. And what you see on the walls of Kemet, not you. You guys can't be in the sun. African people can. You got to cover up. That's why the culture of you was putting on all them clothes to cover up from the sun. Because you get burnt. Africans didn't wear all that shit. Because we're one with the sun. So, so these individuals call themselves, you know what? Now they're trying to make it illegal for you to say that now. Isn't it funny? trying to make it legal. You got Candace Owens, no good goofy, but now finding all this. Oh, it's amazing. I didn't know all this history. You didn't know that because you was a bootleg and you're working for those folks and you didn't care to know. Now all of a sudden now you know. I didn't know this history. I didn't know that. I didn't know this. You didn't know a lot of shit. Now all of a sudden you know some stuff. Got Candace Owens finding new things every day. It's all eye opening for her. I didn't know this. I didn't know that.
Mhm. But
Yes,
to
it is.
just finish this article quick before I share a video of Jasmine Rocket was an advice for you all. And yeah, get to share other more details coming from TikTok and all that. They're also saying that the tech and surveillance empire, which is the Pegasus spyware, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. We have the facial recognition exports, we have the cyber defense tools, the big tech plus national security is equal to elite surveillance networks. And many countries buy Israel tech to watch their own citizens, which is if privacy dies, profits do rise. And the question is who profits? We have the US defense contractors, we have the private intelligent firms, we have the armed dealers, we have politicians backed by pro-Israel lobbies, we have banks, tech giants tied to Israel startups. Israel serves as a geopolitical investment. Wars, sanction, treaties, it all moves the market. And the financial leverage and aid laundering, US sends $3.8 billion plus in annual aid, and but most of it comes back via arms deals, flows through the defense companies, funds campaigns. It's not aid; it's a looped investment system disguised as support. And the real power, which is equal to narrative control, any criticisms is labeled as anti-Semitic, any debate is shut down, and this shields
Right.
it to financial operation, strategic moves, lobby power. When you can't question it, you can't decode it. And they're also adding that the constant conflict is equal to constant funding, and the more unstable the region, the more aid, investment, and military backing flows. Israel existence justifies troops presence, border control tech, energy
Stealing.
contracts, and the
Yeah.
conflict is the commodity. And they're also saying the
Exactly.
global.
The conflict is the commodity, just like in Africa. The conflict allows them to steal from the Arab countries the gold, the oil. We don't got no gold. The oil. Mostly got oil there. The steal the oil resources. So that's what, and also to steal the land. So that's the whole thing is to steal the land, put this made up country out there is to make sure they try to because they're trying to create something called a bigger Israel, where they steal all the oil, all the mineral assets of that area, Joby. That's why they went into Iran to steal those minerals. Nothing about no nuclear bomb.
Mhm. They're also saying that, and since we're talking about them, of course, our numbers are going down. See that?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. All the numbers are going. Everybody's leaving all of a sudden.
hey,
Exactly.
that's crazy. From 20 to 5, how is that even possible?
It's possible the same way we shadow ban, Joby. That's how it's possible.
The global
You got
chessboard is Israel as a proxy, and it acts as a launch pad for Western interests. It also acts as a
exactly,
watchdog near oil empires. It's a test
exactly the oil.
military. It's a test lab for military and surveillance tools. It's not about religion. It's about reach, and
No, exactly, Joby. The religion's always the nonsense. That's what they always get you with the fake religion. It's about them being able to get in places and steal their resource. So we know right now that they overthrew Syria, Joe. Right? So now you got Al Qaeda, which you got Al Qaeda member, Joe. But they tell you, oh, Al Qaeda's a terrorist group. They got an Al Qaeda guy now, the president, their puppet they installed, and now all their minerals, Joby, have now been turned over to the West. The
yeah,
oil and all the minerals in Syria has now been turned over to the West.
it's
That's what
crazy.
they're there for. Just like they did with Libya. That's why Israel's there to steal these countries and turn all their minerals over to the white to the West. Keep them rich.
Mhm. They're also saying that the final slide, Israel is not just a nation. It's a multi-trillion dollar strategy created not just to protect, but to influence the Middle East, fuel the war economy, control narrative and networks, especially the networks. Ask not why it was created, ask who keeps cashing in.
Exactly. Who keeps cashing in, Joe?
Mm-hmm. The wrong child. The
How
wrong.
about that?
Yeah, that is what is happening. That is literally, of course, if you've been questioning, trying to understand deeper what Israel, why Israel was created, who funds it, you can see the reason for fundings,
And they
why.
want and they want that central. And don't think they're done with Iran. They're just gonna figure out, okay, Iran's got better weapons. They're gonna study for 5 years how to go back in and still take it over. They're gonna put,
Mhm,
as you guys pull up, see they got us on YouTube or TikTok, Joe. But it should be on TikTok. But like say, because the 700 spies
mhm,
that Iran found of Israel in their country, they're taking them and they hanging them or shooting them in the head.
mhm.
They did. They're getting them up, but they will put spies back into um Iran again. It's gonna take some years. They're gonna get them back up in there, and they're gonna try to overthrow it. They don't remember. I want people to say they don't ever stop. Because they took this loss, they say, okay, okay, okay. Now we got to figure out another way to go in and get it. But we're not gonna stop. We're not gonna stop. We're not gonna stop. We see spy. We lost. Now we're not gonna stop, Joby, until we get it.
Exactly.
Same way they
Yeah.
did with Syria. They lost over and over again with Syria until what? Until they got it. Took them 10 years, but they finally got. No, took them like 14 years, and they finally got it. We got it. We got it. And now we got all your oil. We got all your precious metals. We got it all. And now your people are going to live in poverty. We got it.
Mhm.
That's right.
So let me share a quick videos here on TikTok before I go to Jasmine. Rocket, what she has to say.
Some breaking news.
Oh, not that moron. What's that moron talking
Years since
about?
the ceasefire was reached. He says, I offer my congratulations on the victory over the fallacious Zionist regime. With all that commotion and all those claims, the Zionist regime was practically knocked out and crushed under the blows of the Islamic Republic. Also, my
Yeah, it
congratulations on
should have kept
Iran's
going.
victory over the U.S. regime. The U.S. regime entered the war directly because it felt that if it didn't, the Zionist regime would be completely destroyed. It entered the war in an effort to save that regime.
It was going to
achieved
be.
nothing. The Islamic Republic delivered a heavy slap to the U.S.'s face. It attacked it and inflicted damage on the Al Udeid air base, which is one of the key U.S. bases in the region. The fact that the Islamic Republic has access to key U.S. centers in the region and can take actions whenever it deems necessary is a significant matter. Such an action can be repeated in the future too. Should any aggression occur, the enemy will definitely pay a heavy price. And finally, the U.S. president stated Iran must surrender. Needless to say, this statement is too big to come out of the U.S. president's mouth. So what are we supposed to take away from that? Well, of course, the Iranian leader is extremely biased towards Iran and has to frame the war as a win. There were obviously some clear inaccuracies in that statement. Like what? Well, the obvious one that affects the U.S. is he said they inflicted damage on the Al Udeid air base. The truth is they fired multiple missiles at
Which country that?
You just said you believe the conflict between Israel and Iran is over. What makes you so confident it is? And what do you do if it isn't?
Because I dealt with both, and they're both tired, exhausted. They fought very, very hard and very viciously, very violently, and they were both satisfied to go home and get out. And can it start again? I guess someday it can. It could maybe start soon.
It's going to
I
start
think the
again.
big telltale sign was when, as you know, Iran somewhat, by not much, violated the ceasefire. And Israel
Iran
had the
didn't
planes
violate.
flown
Israel
in that morning.
violated.
There were a lot of them, 52 of them. And I said, you got to get them back. And they brought them back. They didn't do anything. They brought them back. It was very good. I thought it was amazing, actually. They have fought a hell of a war. They fought very hard. I think the war ended actually when we hit the various nuclear sites with the planes. And I just hope you people can give these pilots, these are the best pilots in the world.
Hell no, they didn't do anything. Satellite, they just tell.
They are.
Those shots didn't do nothing. They didn't touch the nuclear thing at all. It's all a lie. See, that's why I just lie. It was a very excellent thing. The pilots and the pilot, it didn't do anything. It didn't touch the nuclear site. And Iran told you now we're gonna build a bomb and you can kick rocks. They told you kick rocks. We're gonna now that your agency is phony, we still got attacked trying to follow your rules. I say don't ever follow their rules. Don't, because Israel ain't had to follow. Why does Israel have to follow their rules? Oh, because they're the ones with the money, the fake money. Why does Iran got to follow the IAEA rules? Now, knowing that now that that's a joke. Iran said we're out of this IAEA shit and we're gonna build a bomb. There ain't nothing you're gonna do to stop us either. So the thing they supposedly claim they didn't want to happen, forced them to happen. I told you. Don't ever, whenever white people tell you they're not gonna do some shit, they're gonna do it. So, and they're always gonna come back and see you because at the end of the day, they want your resources. That's what runs the world. Money, power. They don't want. So don't ever. Well, it's a very excellent thing and all that other stuff. And all you gotta do is just comply. Let us inspect your sites. Iran was letting them inspect the sites. They knew Iran didn't have no damn weapon. They knew that, but they still lied on them. So that's why Iran said, why should we comply? And you know we didn't have no damn nuclear bomb, and you still came and attacked us because they want your resources, moron. How you don't know that? So that's why they overthrew your government in 1953 and took what? Your resources. They had control of your oil. For 25 years, they had control of it. And they mad because you took it back after you had that revolution and killed all their people and got rid of the Shah. And they don't never stop because what they do when they start bombing? They bombed the Shah's son who's been living in California. Iranian people, I'm your leader. You're a leader? We never even met your ass. Who the hell are you? I'm the Shah's son. I'm going to be the puppet that they put in. They're going to parachute me in, and they're not going to accept you. You don't even know who the hell you are. So they already had a plan to put the Shah. So they already planned to attack Iran, sneak attack them, which they did, and put their puppet in there, the Shah of Iran's son up in there, making speeches. Oh, it's over for you. We need to go. Easy. This dude was supposed he's supposed wants to be the leader of the country. He's telling everybody to give up to Israel. He's telling we need to just go and give up to Israel. Don't fight back and get rid of the mullahs. And I'm going to be the leader. We don't even know you, dude. The fuck are you? How you going to be the leader? Remember, it's the same thing they tried to do with Venezuela. They made a fake leader and then flew him in the damn Venezuela and said he's the president. You remember that? Juan Guaido. You guys remember that? America flew a fake president into damn Venezuela and told the Venezuelan, this guy's your president. What? Who the hell is this guy?
Right now to share with you, this is the first intelligence assessment from U.S. intelligence about what was really accomplished in those massive U.S. strikes on Iran over the weekend. This is from one of the intelligence agencies, as I said, the DIA. So it's just one of several. So take it in that context. But they assess that the strikes only set Iran's nuclear program back by months, and that these strikes.
It didn't set it back. See, now I can say months. See, it didn't set it back. Now they got to say month, which is nothing. It didn't set it back at all.
Strikes did not
at all
destroy Iran's nuclear sites. Now, those are, again, in the context of that's an early assessment. It could change, and there are other intelligence assessments that we will get from the U.S. government. Even with that context, this is hugely significant information because President Trump said immediately after that, and this was echoed by the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, that Iran's nuclear program had been.
So then.
Listen to him lie. Because we know Russia and them was all the way on the ground. China said it didn't hit nothing. Their nuclear weapons are still intact, and now we're going to build one. Kick rocks.
It's not your fight. You've done your part. You've carried the weight of the world on your back for decades. But not every fire needs your flame. Not every conflict needs your boots on the ground. Trump made his move. Iran responded. The missiles paused. And now the world holds its breath. But ask yourself this. What are you walking into? Another endless chapter? Another war with no finish line? Putin watches. Europe watches. Even your own people are tired of flags draped over coffins and promises left broken in the sand. This is not weakness. This is wisdom. Sometimes power is knowing when not to strike. Secure your borders. Protect your people. Lead with strength, but lead with sense. Let the
American people weren't going to accept no another war.
So that is Putin over there. We have this lady here as well.
Well, it's day 3 of what every Iranian tells us is a very shaky ceasefire. But life is slowly starting to return to normal in this city. Streets are starting to fill up with traffic. The internet has been restored. That was another huge relief for Iranians, even though some social media apps are always banned here by the government. The first international flights will be resuming today. But you can see on some streets, there's still cafes, shops, government offices, which haven't opened up. So many Iranians fled this city during the 12 days of the Israeli airstrikes, these unprecedented, intense strikes, with some of the missiles landing in or on or close to streets where Iranians live and work. And some of them seem to be staying away until after this weekend. The Iranian weekend starts today. And I don't think you can exaggerate just how shaken people were by war coming to their city in this way. It's been decades since the Iran-Iraq war that they saw this kind of attack.
Yeah.
You just said you believe the conflict.
That's a lie. Those people out in the street celebrating. So they're trying to make Israel was scared. Israel is one that's running and leaving Israel because that's not their home. They got to go to a country like they're settlers, the white settlers, like they did in Kenya, Uganda, Zimbabwe, South Africa, and Namibia. They got to go steal people's shit and live there. And so, man, them getting bombed, they all was trying to get out of there on boats and everything else. I'm getting out of here. This ain't got to do with me. I'm leaving. But the Iranians were out in the streets said, yeah, we're going to fight to the death. They weren't running nowhere. See, so these fake false narratives they keep bringing are lies. They said we're going to fight to the death. We're not going to give up. You need to surrender. We talking about surrender. We ain't surrendering shit.
So, as we understand, of course, that Israel is here all to just loot, and this, even if it means the life of so many people. So far, we've had, I don't know if the mainstream media even can tell the number of people who have died so far in Palestine, because it's been so many.
About 500, about 500,000.
It's so many, but this is what is currently happening.
هذا هو آثار المجزرة الإسرائيلية للزراعة والأشعة.
It's sad to watch because this is a situation they have created even here in Africa, globally, literally. Again, Israel. It's crazy, and I love the fact that
Israel's the reason. Israel's the reason for all the shit in the Congo. Israel's the reason that shit happened in. Did you know, Joby? It was Israel that supplied the tear gas to the Kenyan police. Did you know that?
Of course, I've just read from the article. So it's very understandable that they are there to supply weapons. They are there to supply weapons. They profit from the people who profit is the armed deals. So through the armed deals, literally, this includes all the supply of arms, even if it means the ISIS, Al Shabaab, weapons, and all that. So they're all coming through Israel.
They are the Al Shabaab still. They create the Al Shabaab still. And the Boko Harams.
It's crazy, but those are the current life situations. But as we move on, we also have Iran, which did announce the move to suspend the cooperation with the UN nuclear watchdog. The article says Iran Guardian Council has ratified a parliament-approved legislation to suspend Tehran cooperation with the United Nations.
Isn't it funny? The UN is supposed to be a body for the world with spying on Iran too, for the Jays, the cats, and the hats. Isn't that funny? Organization that's supposed to be a watchdog organization, which Israel's no part of, said no, we're not going to do. You're not going to find out. We're not going to let you investigate our stuff. But you must get your stuff investigated. And also, they've been caught spying for Israel. But it's supposed to be for the UN. because the UN is a fake organization. You get it? So Iran's like, man, we out of this shit.
They're saying that, let me go back to the article, that the Iran Guideline Council has ratified a parliament-approved legislation to suspend terror cooperation with the United Nations nuclear watchdog, the IAEA, after the war with Israel and the United States. Iran news outlets reported this is today that the appointed council, which has veto power over bills approved by lawmakers, found that the parliament's measure to not be in contradiction to the Islamic principle and the constitution. So those are the current news and reports coming from
Like I
Iran.
said, just like they asked when they was at the UN and they was at the IAEA meeting, they said, "What the hell is Israel doing here as a country sitting in this meeting when they're not even a signature to the treaty? They're not part of the IAEA. They won't let nobody come investigate them." Kennedy tried to that, got his head blown off. Right? So then I ain't part of. So people say, "What are they doing here?" Because they run them. They run the money scheme. You morons. That's why they're there. They're not supposed to be. If the world works fairly, when are they supposed to be there? Because they're not a signatory to the treaty. They're not supposed to be there. So why are they here? What I read as an odd question. What are they doing here? They're not even part of the damn treaty. They refuse to let the IAEA in their country and investigate their nuclear bombs, which everybody knows they got. So why are they here at this meeting? They're not even part of the damn countries that signed the damn bills for people to come in and look at their damn nuclear weapons or see if they're even creating nuclear weapons. Why are they here? Everything's upside down, backward, inside out. So I want you to understand it's Africa. You very understand it's Sahel state. Not the bootlicks. They're coming for you. You're now upsetting the apple cart on the planet of their theft, their predatory, parasitical system. Okay? They even got filthy rich off of your resources, kept you impoverished, and now you think you're just going to be allowed to shake free while these other Negroes are still dead in the head? And you're going to gain power? They're coming to see you. So get ready. Be ready so you don't have to get ready. Because they're coming to see you. Make no mistake. They're in boards and buildings talking about you right now. And they're telling you, and they're being disrespectful. How dare these niggas think their gold belongs to them? We put these niggas in poverty, and poverty they'll stay. The hell they think this is? That's what's being said behind the scenes.
That's what you've shown on the screen.
What do you say, Joby?
Saying that's also what you've been shown on the screen. Of course, black people will always face racism, especially during times of war. The Southern race is always quick to help themselves, but black people, save yourselves. And because the system has literally divided us to the point where we don't even know how to move with unity anymore, which is super, super sad. But yeah, we had a video which of course is circulating about black people who are being shown racism. That is when Iran hit back at Israel. So these are the kind of isolated outside and all that.
Ultimately left out to get the shelters. That's right. These are God's people being so nasty and racist. You Negroes stay outside to get bombed. Pause the joke. Now remember, I told you there is no damn bit of difference. I told you between Israel and the Iranians are not fake Arabs. They consider themselves fake Persians. They're not Persians either. But let's say the Arabs. There's no damn bit of difference. Don't ever get it twisted, because we're not on any of these people's sides because they're all racist towards us. Because remember when they were bombing Lebanon, when Israel was bombing Lebanon, and all the black people were left out to be murdered, to be blown up. They weren't allowed to go to nobody's house or go into shelters, even in Lebanon, in the Arab world. Remember that? Joby showed the Kenyans. They were like, "Oh, I'm so scared. I've been told I kicked my boss kicked me out the house and out the basement. So we just out here." They're all that way because the fake identities they say, whether they're fake Arab or fake Hebrew, that's all fake. Because those are all African identities that they stole. They're white, and their behavior is the same towards you. Okay, so don't think you got no dog in the fight between these people. Okay, because at the end of the day, they'll unite against us always. Go ahead, Joey.
Сейчас нам прислали уведомление о том, что будет скоро сирена с Ирана. И мы пошли в соседний дом в бомбоубежище, где нас не впустили, они закрыли двери, закрыли парковку. Мы стучали в дверь, они вышли, сказали, мы не обязаны вас.
That is what was happening, which is a norm. Of course, black people always face racism, like Kitty is explaining in Lebanon, during Ukraine, Russia time. You know, we've all been seeing it, but they're always ready to use you to come and help them fight for them, and that it's crazy. I'm trying to see something else I can share as we get to move on. The same. The same.
Trump just announced on his Truth Social.
This one I think we talked about. I've realized literally I'm way ahead most of the. I'm way ahead on news on most of, unlike most of the blogs. It's weird to say, but yeah, this is why you're trying to see me find, what's new, because I'm way ahead of news. Like I have all the details on the app. Everything that is coming in, I have it all. So we've discussed literally everything. I was even trying to do research yesterday. I'm like, man, people are way behind everything we've talked about.
Well, we can discuss about what's going on in Kenya and the rising in Kenya. I think the government has been put on notice.
Yeah,
because that's why
we
Go ahead,
Malawians
Joe.
are also on the street. Malawians are on the street as well. So the 100 monkey effect is on. We had Malawians also on the street earlier today, demanding for regime change. They are calling out their president for trying to vie for another presidential seat, and yet
Mhm.
there's nothing happening. There's
Nothing's done. The impoverished, yeah.
Mhm. But in Kenya, if you're going to talk about what is happening in Kenya, let me see. We had some more bodies which were discovered this evening, like I said, and Kenyans are super mad. So let me share what they were talking about. If there's any explained detail on it, let me see.
There is some news I'm receiving from one of my followers, and it's very disturbing. There is something that happened at Quickmart OTC, and as of now we have an alleged news that there are apparently there is an alleged news that there are some bodies of people. I don't know, they are there, or allegedly they are there, and some IDs have been found, some IDs of people who looted. People who looted left their IDs in the supermarket or something. As in, it's a very contradictory news. I've also seen OTC Quickmart OTC, they have released a statement, and yeah, we need to check up on that, because again, we might be having an issue of extrajudicial types of unaliving going on, and we don't know. Please, Kenyans, we have to be vigilant on this. If somebody knows about this, kindly mtu update hapo kwa comments. By the way, if you have any intel about it, or if you feel free, even in my inbox, unaweza niandikia, I will check it out. You know, we need to know what really happened.
Yeah,
we need to know.
and
guys, hapa ni OTC. As you can see everywhere, everyone is police officers wanafukuza watu, wataki watu waone hizo mili. We have over 200 bodies lying inside the Quickmart supermarket at OTC. Isn't it, tear gas?
Yeah, so they didn't want people to see what was happening right there. So they were trying to tear gas people. But of course, Kenyans are very observant. People have phones. They can zoom all the way. Let me share. Yeah, so this has made literally people more mad because what is really happening? We were just demonstrating about police brutality. Literally, that was what was happening yesterday, and the memorial of the anniversary of the 60 fallen soldiers last year. So it's crazy to see this emerging and talking about dictatorship. Ruto wants to take us back to Moi. Oh, this is. Oh, I thought this was Katie's boyfriend. Okay. I was like, this is.
Which one? The one in the middle?
Yeah, I was like, what the hell? It looks like him. Like, the
Oh, yeah.
hell? Like, what's going on here? Yeah, but Ruto is trying to take us back literally to all the way back during Moi's time, closing the TVs and everything. It's not going to work. The intimidation is not going to work. Like yesterday, we could see. Right now, people are starting to understand. You know, the the secret has always been numbers. The more numbered you are, the more you can outnumber police officers.
Right. You guys got the numbers, exactly.
Yeah, they'll have the bullets, but not so many bullets to kill all of you. So you'll end up beating all of them. And that is what was happening even yesterday. Like so many police, like even here, yesterday we saw one of the police officers being beaten. And then you come to the questioning of how have you been trained? If one person can literally beat you, knock you down, like what is your training all about? It is super, super, super bad. But yeah, those are the current events, news and updates. We've had also money being stolen. So many actually banks have been robbed. There's a bank that has been robbed around 1.2
Wow.
million. Yeah. Yeah, let me share this. This is
I know they got people robbing grocery stores and robbing all kind of grocery stores and looting all kind of shit. But those are like the Moore said, those are people that's all in the damn ghettos, just out running around. They're not protesting. They just be opportunities out smashing stores and stealing shit. Go ahead, Joey. Oh, did I lose you, Joey? Oh, might have lost Joey. I can't tell. Maybe I'm the one messed up. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, Joey went out. Yeah, they out there looting everything. So I said Joey popped back up on here. Yeah, okay, you guys can hear me. Yeah, that's Oh yeah, Mill, thanks for the $10, brother. A few days ago, I seen it. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah. If Joey comes back, it might be here. Hell, I don't know if the damn. Let me see something. I can tell if it's the internet or it's the lights. Let me check the radio station. Well, Oh, Joby may be in the dark, guys. It might be a wrap. We had half an hour to go. Um, what else is on you guys' mind? What else is happening in the world today, or in the United States? Let's see. This is gone. I think the lights went out on Joby. When the lights went out in Georgia, but not Georgia, Kenya. The lights reconnect. Yep, the lights went out here because I was able to connect the radio station to my phone. I think the lights went out on Joby. But let me make my 2 cents here then about the Iraq-Iran thing since it's now clearing. Um, the West is not going to stop. See, capitalism has to devour other people's countries to keep it going. It's a zero-sum game. And we've been indoctrinated and brainwashed with this capitalist nonsense. It does not work. Capitalism destroys the world. It's uncollective. It's psychopathic. Everything created psychopathic. It doesn't work. That's why your phones only can last like 2 years. Everything's got to be given to obsolescence because we actually live in a world of abundance and everything they have. Capitalism works on a thing of scarcity when we actually live in a world of abundance. See, if we actually farmed and did everything into abundance, no one would starve. No one would need this money thing would be obsolete because they need scarcity for this fake capitalism system to work. And they propagandize you from cradle to the grave. It's the only system works. That's just, it's unfair, unequal. You got two people with all the money, everybody else on the bottom struggling and starving and scraping, trying to survive. As if life and things are scarcity. And that's a lie. It's not true. It's still wicked ass propaganda that they feel in everybody's heads. I tell you, all other economic systems that are collective are supposedly bad and evil. Collectivism is wrong. Whereas human beings, we are a collective people. As human beings, we work better as a collective, not as individuals. Humanity has designed us to be collective, to share, to work together, to build together, not to go up on our own and exploit every. See, for capitalism to work, there always must be exploitation. That's why they never fix the poverty or the homeless. There must be people starving or scraping to get by and living on the edge for this whole scam to work. And that means they must bring in everybody under the scam, either peaceably or forcibly. But anyway, they have to acquire more countries to control to keep the scam going. Unless the capitalism, it feeds, it's predatory. It feeds it in on itself. It'll cannibalize itself. So it looks for more and more victims to bring into the system itself in order for the system to survive. And it's an evil, wicked, grind you up and spit you out system. And that's why you need so much propaganda to get up and go to work and keep feeding the system, to live this fake American dream that does not exist. Nothing more than a nightmare. That you spend your whole life trying to work to, and then when your body's all broken and banged up when you're 60, 65, and you got arthritis in your knees and you can't walk and you're going blind, you can't get health care, your Social Security don't cover shit. and you're sitting in your one room shack eating cat food, right? All the years you gave to this wicked system that throw you out like an old bag of laundry. And so they need these wars to keep this system going. And that's where we find ourselves at, unfortunately. And they use all kind of fake narratives like, oh, they got missiles of mass destruction and nuclear weapons. It's all nonsense. They need to get that oil and those Iranian resources on their program, which they lost in 1979 when they overthrew the Shah. So those resources were taken off their table, and they need to get it back to keep their fake capitalist system going because it's on its last leg. It's predatory. And now it's starting what? Capitalism at the end of the day, we're always going to turn in on itself and start cannibalizing itself because it's evil. It's from the mind of psychopaths. It's psychopathy. But through their propaganda, it's always the greatest system of the fake democracy and the fake capitalism, which is all psychopathic. Never got to pay a light bill. Well, hell, I pay a light bill. I think the lights just went off on her, but um, I think the whole power just went out. Tells me to do is to keep grinding here. They don't give a damn about my life, struggles, mental health, and pain. That's why I call myself off from them. Yeah, they supposed to keep grinding, but that's how the system is, Emil. Keep grinding. You know, it has nothing to do with you being happy. Have you found purpose in your life? Are you happy in your life? This system is unforgiving. And so you have to cut people off. If you're gonna try and find purpose in your life and live in any kind of joy and truth, you're never gonna have that. They don't ever want you to have that. System doesn't afford that. You try your best. You know, at the end of the day, like I said, I was talking to Joby with this individual black guy's a businessman. I was talking to him today. I said, man, ain't you about to retire? You old. How old are you, man? I said, Steve, how old are you? He said, man, I'm 65. I said, damn, man, you ain't broken up yet? I said, why you ain't retired? I said, man, I ain't going to say that. You remember that guy who used to work for me? I said, you mean the short guy with the glasses? I said, yeah, you know him? I said, yeah. He said, the motherfucker stole $500,000 from me in the course of 5 years. I was like, what? Because he was the bookkeeper, right? He was his head manager, also handled his books. He said he had been stealing over the course of 5 years. He stole $500,000 from, so that's $100,000 a year. And now he was fighting with the IRS because, like I said, he just found out about that like 5-6 months ago. Because I was asking where's that guy at? He said, oh man, that motherfucker, man, he robbed me. He was embezzling. I'm like, what? And so now he was stealing the money from the business, small business, right? And wasn't even paying the taxes. So now my boy Steve is on the hook for the taxes that have not been paid in the past 5 years. He said the IRS don't want to hear that he got embezzled. They don't give a shit. They want their money. Or they're gonna lock his ass up. He said they're gonna lock his ass up. I'm like, what? He told him you facing embezzlement, right? He said, yeah, so what? The system here, sadly, yeah. A lot do, yeah, because we're all propagandized to the system. Email. We're all told that capitalism is the only way, it's the best way. I'm not saying, and they both And all the systems of the Europeans don't work. Communism don't work, socialism don't work, but they're actually systems that actually can work. So they give you fake narratives to tell you to be afraid of both systems that don't work. Communism doesn't work because it leads you to the same place capitalism does, because they're both in the minds of predatory damn parasites. And even through communism, you have a few people own everything up at the top. Again, everybody's still struggling and impoverished. So, you know, and they actually know systems that actually can work for the benefit of everybody, but they don't want that. They want a few at the top, the ones that control everything, and everybody at the bottom struggling. Because they at least had enough common sense to create a middle class, because they were going to be overthrown back in the 30s because of the damn Great Depression. Said you're going to have to give these people something. You're going to have to build. That's why the middle class was built out of whole cloth, right? They built the middle class out of that, but now they're taking that back. They don't believe you should have a middle class anymore. They're taking all of it back now. So they don't believe you should have a middle class now. So they believe rich and poor. Remember, every system they built was always based on feudalism. So the mind of these psychopaths is to take you back to techno-feudalism, where they lock you down digitally, right, through the AI systems of control and surveillance. That's why they build these 15-minute cities. And if you know European culture, they lived on what? They practiced feudalism, where you couldn't leave your lord's land without permission. So you were contracted to live and die and serve that land, Lord. That's what the term landlord comes from the feudal system. That's where the term landlord comes from that feudal system. And so you're supposed to stay on the landlord land and don't ever leave and work yourself to death. And so that's the new system they're building through this AI and the 15-minute city grids. Keep you locked down and frustrated and enslaved, because they've never changed their psychopathic behavior. They might have updated or tweaked it so most people don't understand what they're looking at, but they still the same feudal state, more sophisticated, more updated. And so, and Israel was their main person pushing all this stuff. That's why I wish Iran would have kept bombing that place till there was nothing left. I wish they would have kept bombing it till all systems were destroyed in Iran, because they're the ones also behind all this surveillance that's happening in the United States and to the rest of the world. AI and its surveillance, they gave that to China. China didn't start with that. The Israelis sent that shit to China. Right? Well, guys, I don't think Joby's going to come back, so I'm going to wrap this thing up. We're at an hour and 45 minutes anyway, 15 minutes left. So, if you guys got any more comments, what's going on, Byron? He said they indicted Camilla Anthony for murder. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. I gotta look that up, Jibba Jabba. Is it first degree murder, second degree murder, manslaughter? What degree of murder are they indicting them for? Because to me, only they can't give them first or second degree because it wasn't premeditated. They had to give them like a manslaughter charge. Exactly. Communism isn't any better. It leads to the same place capitalism, dude. So that's why that fight is phony. The same cats with the hats who created that fucking capitalism also created that fake ass communism. They created both systems and then have you fighting against both systems that they created. You know, it's a Hegelian dialectic on steroids. It's kabuki theater. They create both systems and then tell you to fight each system. And both systems are evil and wicked. Both systems are evil and wicked. Well, guys, let me let you go. I'm going to say much love and wrap it up. Much love, guys. I'll holler at you guys later. I would definitely would do a show this weekend. I'll be on this weekend, so it's been a long time. I've been away for at least 2 months, so I'll see everybody tomorrow on tomorrow's show, guys. Peace. Much love.